if they do that, they're going to be very, 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 very tough to beat.
That's why Hunter's in right there. Oh, got to shoot a three.
Wilson. Oh, and we are tied.
What a game.
Let's go.
Call the five slammer down.
And I don't ever let them forget where we come from.
Getting those phones out. Record me acting ignorant, man.
Baylor empties it out. With toss. It's going the other way. Second pick of the night. Jeremiah Wilson finishes this one.
The dream is alive for Houston.
Go Cougs! Let's go!
Welcome into another episode of Let's Rage Coogs, presented by the Saxenian Family. We are coming off a 62-58 victory for the 6th-ranked Houston Cougars men's basketball team in the desert in Tucson, Arizona. They defeated the Wildcats.
Tucson.
Well, tomato. We don't care about the Wildcats because they lost. But anyways, in this game, the U of H Cougars really grinded out a victory. They hung around, never let Arizona get too far away, and then they went on that run in the second half and never relinquished control. They were able to hold on to just enough to win, and now the Houston Cougars stand all alone atop the Big 12 standings, and we're going to talk all about it. Kris, Gardner of the Houston Roundball Review, Dayon, Dunlap, how are y'all doing?
Doing great, man. We're doing another LRC after a Cougs win. Hell yeah.
Yes,
I'm doing great.
sir.
Hey, man, I love the energy. Like Kris said, after a big dub, first place by ourselves, what a way to start off the weekend.
And real quick, everybody, Fluff, McKiver is being coached McKiver right now, so he most likely won't be able to join us for this show, but he'll be back probably on Tuesday. So Fluff has not left us, nothing like that. He just got to coach one of his AAU teams, so don't worry about that.
Yes, sir. And let's get into the game specifics. I mean, let's talk about the first half first. I guess you could start offensive struggles for Houston. But, this is one of those games where the Houston, and not to get too cliche, but the Houston culture really shines in games like this because, especially in that first half, the offense was struggling big time for Houston, shooting percentage-wise. But like I mentioned earlier, they never let Arizona get too far away. They turned it into a grind-out game. It was muddying up the waters, and once Houston caught lightning in the bottle, and really Milo Zuzan and LJ Cryer in this game were the two players that offensively were able to step up. There was a handful of different plays in the second half from various different players, but this is really one of the reminders that the Houston Cougars are still the Houston Cougars, and well, they still have that toughness about them, and they know how to win games in more ways than one. And this team showed a little bit of that culture from its preceding teams in terms of being able to pull out a win when the shots aren't falling. And after the NCAA bracket preview show, based on the results just off today, it might be flipping.
Yeah, I got that.
Purdue lost and Houston won.
So yeah, we can talk about that in a second. I pulled it together. All right, a couple things. I'm gonna put my old man hat on to young fellas. Just give me a second. Okay. First half, Aiden touched on it. Both teams did struggle to make shots. Emmanuel Sharp did not shoot well, 0 for 6. Folks, many times, give the opponent credit. Give Arizona credit for playing good defense. Okay? Mm-hmm. They got after the Cougs in the first half with those loose balls on those guards. They pressured the ball handlers. Give them credit. Emmanuel Sharp did not make a three-pointer today. But you know what Coach Sampson did? He made some adjustments. He put E on the bench. He went with different players. That's part of great coaching. Second half.
Let me add to that real quick, Kris. Add to that real quick. And not only but the threat of him on the floor keeps the spacing to where Milos and LJ and even Jay want to be able to operate. So although he's 0 for 6, you still have to extend the defense and guard him at that line. So I don't want to say it's an empty stat because we do need him to make shots. But him shooting those shots and the threat of him to be able to make those shots still allows the offense to still be able to flow. And so we aren't dependent on one player to having to score. Right. But I will agree we need him to make shots. But still, whether he's on the floor, the threat of him is still there. And it allows Milos and LJ to be able to attack and have the spacing to be able to create. And Milos, bro, this is what I've been wanting to see right here because the space and everything is there. He's getting into it and looking and finishing with the floaters and finishing. This was these last 4 or 5 games. He's been on a great stretch and he has arrived. He has arrived.
And Milo scored 13 of his 19 points in the second half, season high 19 points. 6 for 8 from the floor, 1 for 1 from 3. LJ Cryer scored 10 of his 15 points in the second half, 4 for 5 from the floor, including 2 for 5 from 3. This team is built differently. They're not dependent on just one player getting baskets, having a score. He didn't have it today. Juwan didn't have it today, but Milos did. LJ stepped up. Folks, take the dub. Okay.
I think people forget the Kansas game. LJ, Emmanuel just made those clutch ones down the stretch. And so don't get too caught up in the numbers. Don't get too caught up in the numbers. He still had a good defensive game. He's still defending and impacting the game in different ways. And so don't get too caught up in that. But man, we got to talk Los. I want to talk Los. Los, this is what I want to see.
He stepped up. Man. He was aggressive. He like a couple times Arizona dared him to. They went under the screen. Los was like, okay, bucket. Pull up. Other times he penetrated and got into the paint with floaters. He mixed up his game, his offense. It's a great sign to see for this team going forward. And this team won, and they got out-rebounded by 9. And they still won. Arizona did not score any. They only scored 2 second-chance points, despite winning the battle of the boards by 9. And the Cougs still won. Folks, this Houston team, we've said it, still got to get it done. But this team is different. This team is finding different ways to win. I mean, Cougar teams in previous years would win a game on the road, getting rebounded by almost 10 when the leading scorer is struggling and not making threes, not scoring, and other guys aren't scoring. They still found a way to win on the road, and they're really up 2 games in the Big 12.
Yep.
With 6 to go. Enjoy the win, people. Let's enjoy this win and talk about the guys who stepped up. JoJo, he did what he could, got his dunks. Terrence did not have a great game from the 3. He made 2 clutch free throws. How many of us?
Yeah.
He went to the line. Oh no, Terrence, just make 1. But he made both of them. This is just a different kind of team, man. It's just different.
But also under 2 minutes. I mean, LJ stepped up big, the captain, the El Capitan, whatever you name. 2 big clutch threes that was huge. And one of them, he was so patient, realized he had to switch, observed the defense, hit the 3, and came back and hit the other one. Those are 2 clutch points. I mean, and then I think we turned it over after that, but was able to get a stop, and Milos hit that floater. But LJ came up big down the stretch with those clutch buckets. And then those free throws right after that. Terrence had those clutch free throws. And so it was big, man. It was a hard-fought game on the road and coming up big. I think it was almost to a point to where we almost played to how it was before and gave up the win. But we was able to, because Arizona shot the free throws really well until down the stretch.
Yep.
Like
they were 10 for 10.
Yeah, and they
missed for the next 7.
Yeah,
great point, brother. Great point.
Man, what a win. Posed and like we've been there before, but I gotta tip my hat to Milos. This is like, if he play like this, and not even the points, I'm not even talking points. I'm just talking what he was able to do when the opportunity came and attacking, because the opportunity is there for him to attack, but he's attacking. And with that, with the threat of Emmanuel and LJ, we're gonna be hard to beat. We're gonna be hard to beat.
He adds another tool in the toolbox for Coach Sampson, and he's gonna try to do it. Coach McKiver, I guess he has an assistant coach to coach the squad. He's gonna join us. We're coming to you, Fluff. Hope you're ready, man.
He really can help us.
What's up, my guy?
Hey, but I gotta give Fluff,
man. What's going on?
Fluff, I gotta give you the right intro.
I had to holler at my guys. What's up? We got a 4-point win tonight.
I got to give Fluff the right intro. I mean, we talking to a Houston. He wasn't just a player. He was the player, a go-to guy I'm talking. We got someone who is 17th in points in 67 games, 1,000 points, 434. Tied eighth in 52 games, so it fastest to 1,000 points. First in 3-pointers made in a season with 145. First in 3-pointers made per game, averaging 4 3 makes per game. Fourth in consecutive. So this isn't just a regular player. We got this is the Fluff. We got to make sure we do your intro the right way. And we got a Coug legend who did it in only 2 years. So
Yep.
imagine if he would have did it in 4. What you see, Fluff, after today?
Hey man, I appreciate that, man. I wish it could have, like I always said, I wish it could have been and more. And I wish we could have got more winning with it, but you know what I'm saying. I tried my best to be the best team player I could be. I tried my best to win. I'm just glad that I was just one of the guys, one of the soldiers to help us get to where we at today. Big time win we got today. Uzan had an amazing game. Another game of no turnovers.
Ooze!
Another game with no turnovers. You know what I
Yep.
mean?
Yeah. Yep.
19
Big play.
points, 5 assists, some rebounds. You know what I'm saying? I think he's really gearing up for the tournament.
And Fluff, Dayon made a great point. Emmanuel Sharp did not make a 3 today, but his presence on the floor with the spacing allowed other guys to step up. Your thoughts on that?
Definitely. Sometimes it's about movement. Sometimes it's about, I tell guys all the time, sometimes when you're moving on the floor, it's not even for you to score. It's for your teammate to score. So sometimes understanding spacing gives us opportunities to get more baskets. You know what I mean? And that was big. That was big in this game right here too. Yo, we need Cryer to rebound the basketball more. Just maybe long rebounded, meaning like not about just getting, the ones that's coming off the glass, but the long rebounds. And I think, our guards have to rebound the basketball a little better for us to win some other type of games. Because Arizona, of course, we'll probably see them in the Big 12 tournament. But, just any other team that we playing, I think that's what it is.
And to that
But
point,
yo,
their
go
guards,
Cougs, man. Go
Bradley, 5
Cougs, man.
rebounds. Love, 4 rebounds.
Yeah.
Lewis, 6 rebounds. So now
It's-
that's a good point.
That's the point. That is the point. And typically when the Cougs do get rebounded, it's because the guards did not do their part to get the rebounds. And so that happened today, and yet they still found a way to get the win. I'm enjoying the ride. This ride, I think, is going to be a long one this season. Milo stepped up huge in that second half. He was aggressive. He was smart with the ball, as Fluff said. 0 turnovers.
I think it's the 3rd game in a row, no turnovers. Maybe 3 or 4 games, maybe 3 or 4 games in a row, no turnovers.
That's like Wilson said, Texas Tech game.
Move around.
And Fluff, I mean, we're nitpicking. We need the guards to play better to start the game. They didn't play bad on purpose. Give Arizona credit.
Right.
Okay, you gotta give the opponent
Chris.
credit sometimes, making things difficult.
You're right, Chris. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, we sometimes forget that the opponents are good too. All right. I mean,
but guys,
relax.
I wanted to let y'all know. I wanted to make sure I jumped on here. We are about to tip off. I just wanted to make sure that I tapped in with my people. We about to kick some, you know what? And man, another win for the Cougs. Love. I got to go. Much love. Okay. Yo,
Appreciate
Dayon,
it,
man, send me that. Hey, Dayon, send me that stuff because I ain't even know I got all that, man. Love, man.
See you Tuesday, man.
I talk to y'all soon.
All right, man.
The one and only Fluff. There's only one Fluff.
Yeah. And I'm not. Yeah, I am. I'm gonna be a hard ass about this. We're talking about stuff that is kind of obvious about the guards need to play better to start the game, or Emmanuel Sharp needs to make threes. We all know that, but he didn't miss the shots on purpose.
He's not trying to miss.
He's not trying to miss.
Most of them were good looks too. They just didn't fall.
He had one bad look. out of the
The
6.
very deep 3.
Okay,
right?
folks, Arizona is a good team. Iowa State's a good team. Texas Tech's a good team. The Cougs have a good team. They know they need to play better to start games. They didn't come out, well, let me just go miss these shots to give the fans, unless Rage Coogs, something to talk about. Okay, come on. This is a different team. They found a way to win. Let me look at the numbers. Let's go down the list because it's still a win. But real quick about LJ Cryer. LJ made the 2 threes in a row. He made 4 straight buckets.
Clutch.
To turn a 43 deficit to a 57-50 win. Clutch.
That's what we need from the captain right there.
Yes.
Like
clutch.
That's what we need. Like, and this say like this. Say for example, he don't make throws. He's 1 for 6. But you keep shooting. Don't worry about the numbers. Like same thing I was pointing to Emmanuel against Kansas. He wasn't having a great game, but the threat of him and his capabilities to make those shots when they come open, that's what we need. And LJ stepped up big. I mean, and I agree with Fluff though. He has to rebound better. Not going in the paint and go getting rebounds, but those long rebounds, I think those are the ones he have to be able to attack those a little more. But overall, Cryer came up big, man, and I gotta give kudos to him because he's tough. I mean, now he's showing his toughness, his mental toughness, his physical toughness, and he's picking his spots. He got that mismatch. He didn't drive it. He stepped back, saw the big was giving him space and knocked it down. And so those plays right there are crucial to winning plays. Like our guards and our team closed the game out and win this style like they've been there before. Not to say Arizona didn't, but they missed free throws and turnovers plagued them down the stretch when we took care of the ball and made big shots. And that's the difference between winning and losing.
And it's very important we get real quick, Kris, about LJ Cryer, giving him his flowers, because especially early on this season, Houston lost those 3 games in November. How quick, and then not UH, but the criticism about, oh well, LJ, that's what LJ Cryer does. He disappears in crunch time, and all the noise that came from that, and make sure that that same noise is equal when he does excel and he is performing in clutch time, which he did today. He, like Dayon said, he was crucial for Houston in that late game execution, and kudos to him because. Well, both Tim and Milos, but LJ Cryer stepped up big time performance today, and you don't hear any of that. Oh well, LJ Cryer, when it matters most, he disappears. Not the case tonight.
The Cougs were down 48-41 with 9 minutes to go. They scored the next 12 points, 12-0 run to go up 53-48. They got it done. Defense did its part right there. Arizona missed a free throw front end of 1-1, and the Cougs took advantage. This team, for the most part, makes opponents pay for a missed free throw, for a turnover. They're finding ways to get it done. Different guys stepped up. Dayon made 1 field goal in the second half, but it was a layup with 4 minutes to go to put them up 5. Different guys,
big free throw.
Up. Yes.
That 1 free throw from him is big. I mean, you just think back to the time how important it is of just making a 1-on-1 opportunity against Tech. Milos misses the front end. They come down and make a 3. And so the ability to make that first free throw is huge. Huge. So kudos to him for at least making that first free throw. But the player of the game, that player of the game, we have a player of the game already?
Not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor? Well, I know that. But I know we're doing it,
but yeah, he is.
Milos, the player of the game, one of the plays of the game was definitely his floater. They were kind of getting momentum a little back, and he got the ball and was able to attack and got downhill. But man, Milos, 0 turnovers, leading the conference in assist to turnover ratio back to back, in which Jamal Shead did the same thing. But now he's taking his game to the next level and seeing what he can do, just being aggressive to attack. I don't expect 19 from him every night, but I think he can be able to. Let me see the number of shots he made, because that's what I like, the attempts. 12 attempts. That's a good number from him, because his ability to get inside the paint and being able to look for that photo, because it's there a lot. And so great game from him, man. Great game.
I'm gonna take this I'm going to answer it best way I can answer it regarding Ramon Walker. He is expected to return. He may not play the rest of this season. Things are being worked on, discussed for him to return next season. I'll just put it like that. I do know more, but I can't share all of that. Hope y'all can respect that. And I mean y'all as in the viewers. Okay? I'm not going to be some people that spew out stuff when they were asked not to spew it out. I'm not going to do that. All right? So there you go with that in mind. Okay? But on a happier note, let me do this, Andy. Talk about the seeding. I want to point this out because it has changed already. This was before the game. The NCAA committee announced the reveal. Here's the seed list. Cougs are 8. So the Cougs are the last of the 2s. But as Andy touched on, Purdue lost. Correct? They lost to Wisconsin, right? Houston won. So being the last of the 2s, the Cougs are in the last region. So they'd be in the West based on geography. Okay, the Aggies being the second or the first number 2. That's why they're the second number 2. Tennessee is the first number 2. So Tennessee goes to the Church's region if it doesn't interfere with their conference opponent. That's why they're not going with Auburn in Atlanta. Making sense so far? Okay. So being the last of the 4, the Cougs don't have a choice in the matter. So last in San Francisco out west. Ironically, if they fall to 9, they'd probably go to Indianapolis in the Midwest to be the closest region to them. But Purdue lost, and the Cougs got a big road win. They will probably move up from 8 to 7, and then you'll see where they might go. And Purdue was where, Andy?
Purdue was in the Midwest in Indianapolis.
So based on today's results, the Cougs might be the number 2 in the Midwest in Indianapolis. So travel purposes, Houston fans would probably prefer the South region in Atlanta, but Midwest isn't bad either in terms of travel, flights, and all those kind of things. But just different things to point out. The one issue for the Cougs is San Diego State has lost games in conference play, and that has hurt the Cougs overall in terms of teams that they lost to. You know, they got 3 great losses, Texas Tech, Auburn, Alabama. But San Diego State, I think they've lost like 6 times, maybe something like that. And 4 of those are in conference, something like that. And Mountain West is not the SEC. Let's be nice. Okay. So that has kind of hurt the Cougs. But I think someone pointed out, if the Cougs win out, that's going to be really hard to do. But if they do win out, they do have a chance to be a 1 seed. Yes, I do believe that.
Would that include Big 12 tournament or just regular season?
It's regular season. Regular season. That should be enough.
Well, on that note, I'd like to first thank every person that's taking the time out of their Saturday afternoon to join us for this edition of Let's Rage Coogs, presented by the Saxenian Family. We'd like to take this opportunity to thank today's sponsors on this edition, beginning with Steve Saxenian, who's the primary sponsor of not only this episode of Let's Rage Coogs, but will be has been for each and every single post-game show, and will continue to do so heading into the Big 12 tournament post-game shows. Of course, we also like to say thank you to today's secondary sponsor, and that is Star Pizza, with 3 locations throughout the Houston area. Star Pizza is your go-to stop before or after the game. Be sure to check them out online at starpizza.net and on social media at Star Pizza HOU via X, and Star Pizza Houston, Texas on Instagram. And be sure to check out their constant specials and deals that they are promoting on their social media platforms.
This was a big win. And Arizona only scored 58 points, but they scored, 18 points off fast break points. 18 of their 58 fast break points. So if they were not able to beat the Cougs down the court and score fast, they struggle to score.
Yeah, half court.
Scoring at half court. And that's what Coach Sampson really wants opponents to do, wants a Cougar defense to wear you down and make you score against the Cougs half court.
Yeah. Real quickly, that's Joe Mendes. Houston's returning to Houston right after the game. Yep. And then they'll fly back out to Arizona for Arizona State, I'd imagine, Monday.
Mm-hmm.
No, I was just gonna kind of piggyback off one of the points that Kris had just made. Not only but Milo's really talking a little bit more about J1. I think he had a quiet, good game. Not necessarily offensively, but being in the right. But uncharacteristically had some turnovers down the stretch that I was like, oh, can't. Not really expecting those from him and need him to not turn the ball over. Of course, he isn't trying to turn over, but he battled tough against some good bigs, and him and JoJo and really did a good job of making everything tough for Arizona in the stretch in the half court and their ability to rotate and kind of keep the ball out of the middle. And Caleb Love, he had a good game playmaking wise. I know he had 17 and struggled shooting a three, but he didn't settle on it and did a lot of good playmaking today, which opened a lot. But their most impressive player for me was KJ Lewis. He looked like someone that Coach Sampson would like to play for the Cougars. Like that kid plays hard, he rebounds, he cuts well without the basketball. He had a really good game. But going into this game, after last episode, I was watching the point guard matchup. I told you guys who wins that matchup, I feel like we win the game. And Milos outplayed Bradley, and Houston won the game.
Great point, man. You called it, and I'm glad to see Milos getting some flowers, some appreciation, because we Andy touched on about LJ, the criticism tossed his way earlier in the season. Milos got a lot of it too. Some folks were like, I don't know what Coach Sampson sees in him. I don't think he fits. He's not Jamal Shedd. No kidding, not Jamal Shedd. Okay? Jamal Shedd going down as one of the greatest Cougs ever. Y'all expected Milos be that in 4 months? That was unrealistic. The Cougs are now, what's the record now, fellas? What's the record?
21-4.
And in the Big 12?
13-1 in conference play. 13-1.
I mean, what more do you want your point guard to do, man? I mean, he stepped up huge with points and no turnovers for like the third straight game. No turnovers.
And shout out to JVL, man. 7 rebounds in 15 minutes. When he was on the court, he was grabbing them boards and impact the game when you're on the floor. And only 15 minutes to lead the team in rebounding, that's impressive. That's impressive. So I want to make sure I give everyone their flowers who contributed, because this was a total team effort. Every little minute stat that you might see, it was impactful in the game.
And it's a great way to put it. This was a team effort, a team win. Different guys contributed to this win in little areas. That's what great teams do. They did not play their best basketball game, and they still won. There might be some Arizona fans say, man, we won that game for 35 minutes. We all played them for 35 minutes.
Right.
Didn't win the game. That's the bottom line. Did not win the game. This team found a way to win. They're 13-1. They're one step closer to clinching a top 4 seed in the Big 12 tournament. Imagine number should be like 3 now. With 6 games left in conference play. Think about that. 6 games left in Big 12 play, and they are halfway to clinching a top 4 seed with 6 games to go.
Longest road winning streak in the nation. 11 road wins in a row. Toughest team wins on the road, man.
They haven't lost on the road in over a calendar year, is what was brought up during the broadcast today, which is absurd. That is absurd.
Yep. And is Milos the best guard on the team? No. But it depends what you want, what you're looking for. He's not the best scorer. He might be the best at doing a little bit of everything.
Best ball
handler. The best all-around guard, in my opinion.
Best ball handler.
So, like I said, best ball handler, yes. He does a little bit of everything well. He rebounds well. He's a good 3-point shooter. He's getting more confident. He defends. I mean, if that's a question and you still have
the most well-rounded guard,
but think about that. That's the question we're asking now, and you still have LJ Cryer on the team.
You're right.
And Emmanuel Sharp on the team.
And just think, nobody would have dared said that question on here a month ago, 2 months ago.
And we're talking about a backup point guard. Malik Wilson, it does okay. I mean, he's done the job, and Malik Wilson won some games this season coming off the bench. It's just a different kind of point guard. Hey. And rebounding could have been better. Yes.
Yeah.
And the Cougs still won.
Defense was really impressive too. Definitely was. Contesting shots, impacting shots, his ability to switch out and still get back and rotate back is remarkable. Remarkable. He was definitely impactful. And his 8 points he had was very impactful because any offense that you can get from him is always a bonus because he's such a great defensive player.
And we finally saw a Los to JoJo alley-oop that was converted.
We've been screaming that. You're right about that, Kris.
So that's another wrinkle for the offense. That's a positive to see that Los, because they almost had one in the previous game, but JoJo missed the dunk. So this team is getting better, and it's mid-February, and we hope they should still continue to improve because yes, there are some things that they can fine-tune and get better. And they're winning. That's the great thing about it. There are areas to improve, yes, but they're winning the games, and that's still what counts. That's the bottom line. I'd rather win ugly than lose pretty. Does this team have anything else to prove? Well, win the chip.
Win the chip. Prove that you can get past the Sweet 16 and Elite 8 and actually bring down the Nets. I think that's enough to prove. Like we're proving that we're a contender year in and year out and one of the best programs in the nation. But can we prove that we can get over the hump and actually win the chip? It's a lot to prove, but that takes a lot for a team to be able to do that. Of course, a few things got to fall in your favor, but you got to be playing your best basketball and gelling together. One thing I'm seeing, the chemistry and they're gelling together so well right now as the season continues. We get closer to March, that they can ultimately prove that they can reach the pinnacle of the sport and cut down those nets.
And, I would like all four of us, to make it to Kansas City for the Big 12 tournament, but I'd rather all four of us be in San Antonio seeing them win the chip. That'd be my preference. I mean, that'd be one or the other. I want all four of us to be in San Antonio watching the Cougs cut down the nets. And as the ticker says, Houston is now 21-4, 13-1 in the Big 12, 2 games ahead of everybody in the Big 12 with 6 games to go.
3 of those losses came in November.
And 3 of the 4 losses overall come in overtime.
Yep. And 2 of those 4 losses came against the top 2 teams in the country currently.
Yep.
So, but
which the Cougs led them in those games.
Yeah, they had opportunities to win both.
Yep.
But again, this fact alone atop the Big 12, 2 years in a row. Now, obviously, Houston still has to finish the job with this for this season. But again, that's just another point to reiterate about how phenomenal of a run that Houston is currently on. And this is a Big 12 that 2 years ago, before when Houston was still in the American, again, similarly, all the noise, like, okay, they can stockpile all these wins in the American Athletic Conference against inferior opponents. But once they go into the Big 12, they're going to be in for a rude awakening. They lost the first 2 games in conference play last year, and there came all the noise like, see, we told you. They were just stockpiling wins from the American Athletic Conference. We obviously know how that season ended last year with a Big 12 regular season championship. And once again, they're in the driver's seat. Again, they still have to finish. Sure. Currently in the driver's seat for 2 years back to back, right off the get, set atop the Big 12 conference, and an expanded Big 12 conference at that. Where this is an Arizona team that obviously they're in their first year in the Big 12, but they were consistently atop the Pac-12 years before, and obviously they're always among the programs that are in that Sweet 16 category tier teams. So it's very impressive what the Cougars continue to do year in and year out. And again, now it's starting to get to the point, regardless of personnel, they find an identity, and it definitely is a program feel to it because they are continuing to have the same results despite different personnel year after year, now over an extended period of time. When you think about it, going back multiple seasons now.
And the men's basketball success is a great example, and I hope the other UH teams get to this level of the fear for 20 plus years that the haters had of if the Cougs got into a power conference.
Yeah.
Man, if they get into a power conference, man, they're going to run through. Yep. The men's basketball team has proven that correct. Now it's up to everybody else to step up and do their part in other sports, because this is H-Town. The talent in and around this area, you build a fence around this city and keep most of the top talent here in Houston at UH, and then start taking names and kicking butt in all the other sports in the Big 12.
Well said, Kris. Well said. I think Houston can be a powerhouse, but I think it starts at the top with the coaches on each level, each program, each team, and they would undoubtedly have their right man at the top with Coach Kelvin Sampson. And I think the football team definitely got the right guy, Willie Fritz, and I'm expecting some success next year on there. But all the other sports, I think it starts up top. You get the right person to lead the team inside the Power Four conference, added more resources to what you need to NIL and recruiting. Houston can be one of the best teams in the state, no question.
And so this is a challenge to our alums. Do your part as well. We're not asking you to spend money that you don't have, but spend some money. Just have it as a UH athletic fund. Budget it yearly. This is what I can contribute to my alma mater. If all of us do that, that money adds up. And support us. Support the Cougs. We are serious about it. We mean it when we say it. Cougs helping Cougs. Okay? Support the Cougs. Go to the game to see the Cougs, not the opponent, not Kansas, not Arizona, not UConn, Alabama, whoever else. Go see the Cougs. We are the University of Houston. We should demand excellence in all of our sports. Thank you for my TED Talk. This is a big win, man. This is a big win. I'm surprised. But let me ask everybody. When the Cougs were down, they only trailed by 9, never got down by double digits. I never had doubt.
Nope,
I just didn't have doubt. And this team found a way to win. And and as Andy said it, Dayon touched on it, they still have to close out the rest of this Big 12 season, clearly. But I'm looking forward to the tournament. Not the Big 12 tournament, the NCAA tournament. There's not a team among these 16. As a Coug fan or Coug supporter, I'm not afraid of any of these teams.
Nope.
Okay? Now, don't get me wrong. There are some damn good teams in here. Auburn, Bama, A&M. It's like a mirror of the Cougs, pretty much. Florida's good. Tennessee's good. Iowa State.
Yeah.
But in a one-game scenario, let's roll the dice and make a better team win. And more times than not, I think it's going to be Houston. And I'm going to say this in a nice way, y'all. Andy, if you can, mute me if I get out of line. Not too complicated. 4 weeks. 4 weeks. That'll be it. 4 weeks. Look for an announcement sometime within 4 weeks. And that question will be answered. 4 weeks.
And how cool is it to have college basketball game day coming back to Houston?
Yes.
That's a big deal, man. That's a big, big deal. Coming back to the H, it just really stamps the program of where we are. And we still have something to prove. Back to that question. It's a lot to prove. It's a lot to prove. And so big shout out to them, to the current crop of students now getting to have that experience. That's going to be even cool for them. And to what Houston, the men's program is building. I support the women's just as much. I love it. And unfortunately, Coach Ron Huey hasn't lived up to the expectation of leading his team to some success. And so therefore, there probably needs to be changed there, and undoubtedly so, because the women's has just as much talent in Houston as it is men's. And you got the men's rolling, you get the women's rolling, you keep that same talent in the city for Houston and build them up. Houston women's program can be just as good as the men's. I believe that in my heart, no question.
I do too, and this is where I want to lay some of this at the feet of the administration. We have such high expectations for the men's basketball team. What about the women's team? It's time to raise the level of expectations for that program as well.
And also to invest into that program as well.
Yes.
You got to invest into the program as well. You have to. You have to.
Yes. And this is agreed. Demand excellence in all of them, all of our sports, baseball, women's hoops, all of them. I want us to shine in all of them, win as many chips as possible. I'd love it to get to a point where the other teams, other alums, other fans in the conference, damn, they won again. Houston won in tennis. Houston won in golf. Is it something they don't win? I want all of it. I want to be greedy. I want us to win all of it.
A real powerhouse all around. Like, it's Texas we're talking about. The athletes are there. Not getting the people in the right position, investing in these different programs and allowing them to be on a certain playing level. Now let's go out and compete. But to this question, I'm hoping so. Because watching this game, the shots he missing isn't because of his injury. He's still playing some good defense.
Yeah.
And so I think he'll be good. I think the rest did him good. It's just maybe a little rust being off a week, maybe a little rust there, but that doesn't stop his defense and when he plays and his impact, whether his shot is falling or not. But I hope he is at his peak and good rhythm and all of that when March comes around. But definitely Terrence can step up. I mean, Terrence stepped up today. Clutch free throws, good rebounding, a really good rebounding, more of a rebounding team when Terrence is on the floor. He only had 2 boards today, which I expect more from him. I need at least 5 rebounds from Terrence if he's playing more than 10 minutes.
Yes,
I mean, I think the way KJ was attacking that board, Emmanuel was kind of in that role for Houston. And he can do that. And so I want a little bit more of him, and I would even challenge him a little bit more when he's on the floor to go get those rebounds and make a little bit more of those type plays.
And let's just hope that Emmanuel's in a slump. That happens. Okay. I'd rather him be in a slump in February than being in a slump in March.
Yep.
In April, what is it, 7th? Because if he's hot April 5th and 7th, y'all know what that most likely means. I mean, y'all, my young colleagues will be, where's Kris? Where's the camera? Let's go follow Kris. People. Okay.
Yeah. No, I agree with you, Crabtree. He's about 75%, but I'm just saying when he's on that doesn't impact, and I'm not watching and seeing. We could even ask him, is that impacting his shot making? I just don't think it is. That was my point. But I agree with you as far as he's not 100%.
And yeah, a lot of the shots are just, it's not like he's missing them badly, and he looks like he's just
right.
He's just,
most of them are right on line.
It's not like he's not getting elevation on his shot. Yeah. Like he's getting everything he wants.
Right. I mean, it's also a testament to Terrence Arsenault and the impact that he's made the past week, 2 weeks.
Yeah, it is.
And even in this game too, when Houston, I think they started 0 for 5 from the 3-point line. Terrence Arsenault was the first one to make it. Did it confidently. He stepped into a shot. No hesitation.
He banked it in.
Yes, he banked it in. But that's a testament to, again, his confidence and really thinking back, even just early in the season when he was working back from that Achilles injury, he didn't have that confidence right away. So that's a step in the right direction for Terrence. And then even in those final possessions when he got fouled and went to the free throw line, he got fouled because he was aggressive, went straight to the hoop, pushed him from the back,
they needed that too.
and he got hammered. So It's a little bit of both. I think I agree with both of you. It's more. I would say it's much more of a slump for Emmanuel Sharp, and it's also a credit to Terrence Arsenal for how well he's
because he's
playing.
playing well. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And also, and this is not a dig at E at all, but I go back to it. Kudos to Coach Sampson for not, man, you don't have it today, man. Okay, I'm going to go with Terrence and different lineups to bring this win home. He did it. There are some coaches, fans know y'all have watched enough basketball, any level. Why did coach stick with so-and-so so long? He or she just didn't have it today. Well, Emmanuel didn't have it today. The spacing was there. He just didn't make shots. Terrence, go get Emmanuel. Yes, sir, coach. That's great coaching. As Dayon says many times, and he's accurate when he says it, Coach Sampson adjusts in games. He doesn't stick with stuff if it's not working. Arizona's going to play Malos a certain way. Los, you attack a different way. He got done in the second half. Different things. LJ, you do different things. Terrence, you go in there for Emmanuel. Yes, sir, coach. A dub. A 4-point road win for the best team in the Big 12. And I agree with Crabtree on this too. Many of the shots the Cougs had were good shots.
Good look. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's another thing. As Coach Sampson as he hasn't hammered it home or beat us over the head with it, but he said it a few times. Folks, my guys are not trying to miss on purpose. Okay? Most of the shots they take are good looks. If they don't go in, you know what we try to do? Go rebound them and then score on the second chance.
I don't know what Joe Bless has been watching. Did he not remember all the great inbound plays that's got Houston great looks, even going back to the tournament? This was just a one-off. This is nothing that's routine for Houston, having trouble getting the ball in bounds.
Yeah.
It's always great inbound plays.
Because this is Arizona did today what Coach Sampson did to Kansas.
Put the
big on the inbounder. Yeah. Yep. So I'm surprised more teams don't do it. Put the big on the inbounder, because especially if the big has long arms that can jump up and down, makes it so much harder to see for the inbounder. But many, many times Coach Sampson has drawn up just outstanding out of bound plays and got buckets.
Yeah. That's one of his strengths.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Baseline out of bounds. Sideline out of bounds.
I gotta get ready to go, brothers. My daughter got a game at 5. We got to go get ready for game.
All right, Coach.
Enjoyed this game. Enjoyed this victory. So I'm excited.
Yes,
looking forward to the rest of the season. It's always go Cougs, baby.
Yes, sir.
Good luck to your team, man.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
All right.
So it was a great win, a gutsy win, a gritty win. It wasn't a pretty win. And I've said it a few times this season on these LRC shows, and I really don't apologize for saying it this way. But family, and we're all family here. Most of us are Coug alums. I think all of us are Coug supporters. I don't care if it's a 1-point win. I just want to win. Okay, I don't care if the Cougs. How many games is left now? We got 6 regular season, 3 Big 12, 6 more in turn, so 15 games. I don't care if all 15 are 1-point wins. I don't care if those last 6, which are the most important of the season, those last 6 are 1-point wins. They might give me a heart attack, winning by 1.6 times, but as long as they get the dub, that's all that matters to me.
Yep. Getting those final 6 come crunch time in March. Real quickly, Kris, again, I'd like to take the time of the show to thank each and every single person that's taking the time out of their day to join us on this Saturday afternoon for this edition of Let's Rage Coogs. Of course, we also like to say thank you to our sponsors, beginning with Steve Saxenian, who is the primary sponsor of this episode of Let's Rage Coogs and will continue to do so for the remainder of the regular season and into the postseason tournament post-game shows as well. So big thank you to Steve Saxenian. Of course, we also like to say thank you to today's secondary sponsor, and that is Star Pizza. Big thank you to Mike and Jennifer Pittman. Be sure to check them out online at starpizza.net and on social media at Star Pizza HOU on X and Star Pizza Houston, Texas on Instagram. Be sure to visit them at any one of their 3 locations during lunchtime on Tuesdays and Fridays for their all-you-can-eat pizza buffet, and check them out on that online presence. They have constant different deals and specials throughout the week. So again, Star Pizza, your go-to stop before or after the game. Yeah, Justin Singleton reiterating your point in March. You get the win, you get the wins how you can get them. At the end of the day, the only thing that matters is winning.
Survive and advance in March. That's all that matters. Jamal Shedd inbounded the ball a lot last season. Wasn't too many problems with him inbounded the basketball inbounds. Today is recent bias. The Cougs had problems with it. Yeah, they had problems with I think against Auburn earlier in the season. But you know what? Many teams have problems inbounds in certain spots in their half court. Inbounding on the corner
Especially
in
in
an
the
angle.
area of the court.
Yeah, so let's not bash Coach Sampson, but give credit to the opponent. I say, I'm honestly surprised more teams don't have a taller person inbound the ball in case the opponent has a 7-footer who can jump up and down and cause havoc and disruption guarding the inbound pass. But coaches have specific players who they trust inbounding the ball. Many of them are the guards.
Yeah.
Many of them are point guards.
Mm-hmm.
Most times, the guard is like 6'1", 6'2". Well, if that's the case, then they're going to have problems, especially if they can't run the baseline and they're stuck in that one spot. Then you got to figure out how to get around a 7-footer, waving the arms all around in your face. So it's just going, let's get the ball inbounds. Find a way to do it. It's also on the players to move aggressively, cut to the ball. All these little things add up. But Joe Mendez, free throws are big, and it's ironic, as Dayon touched on it. Arizona made their first 10 free throws. Down the stretch, they were 3 for 7. So that was it. And some of those were the front of 1-and-1s. One was a 1-and-1. Other were, I think, 2-shot opportunities. The Cougs made their free throws. Terrence made his 2 free throws. Juwan made the first of 2, moved it from a 3 to a 4-point lead. That's huge. Some of the games, do you think Arizona missed free throws on purpose? Do you think DeJuan Harris missed free throws on purpose in Kansas? Nope. You take advantage of what your opponents do.
Yep.
Texas Tech took advantage of Los missing his free throw. And they won here in overtime. This is part of basketball. I know it sounds cliched and it's trite to say, but these guys, to a man, to a woman, to a player, they practice free throw shooting constantly. But there are some who have, for whatever reason, there's a mental block in games. They get off their routine, forget the routine. They get out of rhythm. They lose confidence, and then they don't make them when we all want them to make them. But they're not missing them on purpose. They don't go to the line. Yeah, I'm gonna just toss up 2 bricks, and get away. They don't do that. And at this point, 29% from 3, but 3 for 8 in the second half. And LJ made 2 during that 12-0 run, I think, or 15-3 run to turn a 48-41 deficit ultimately into a 57-50 lead. Arizona was 1 for 9 from 3 in the second half.
They did a much better job on Caleb Love in the second half too. He had, I want to say he had 11 at halftime. Yeah, he did. He had 11 at halftime. Finished the game with 17. So held them to just 1 of 5 shooting, 0 for 3 on threes. Did get to the free throw line. But yeah, Houston's defense did a really good job on him. They forced him to have to get rid of the ball.
And Caleb Love, we saw. If you saw the entire game, you saw everything about Caleb Love, good and bad. His passing, his shot making, attacking the basket sometimes, but also some of his shot attempts. Young fella, what the hell is that? I mean, what is that? But that's who he is. That's who he has been. Friends, Priscilla said it during the game. This is who he is. You take the good and the bad. I thought about it during the game. And I'm curious about what you think about this. Do you think Caleb Love could play for Coach Sampson?
I would say, honestly, I think he's one of those players that Kelvin Sampson would rather coach against. But to answer your question, I don't know. It would, on the surface, not known just as an outsider. I think a lot of the shots that he takes, there would definitely be a lot of butting of heads if they ever were on the same team for the first few months, because I know for a fact that would give Kelvin Sampson headaches. So honestly, I would tend to lean no, but
agreed.
It's interesting what if. Yeah. I think, like I said, I think he's one of the players that Kelvin would rather coach against than have on his team.
Well put. I lean toward that too, because I'm not sure they would even bother recruiting a player like Caleb Love, because it's like, no, he's just not our style. No. Yes, he's fearless, as Coach said it during the media sessions, and the announcers mentioned it a few times during the game. But at times, when Coach says a player is fearless, I wonder if that's like code from Kelvin Sampson. Yeah, he's fearless, all right, but some of those shots he wouldn't take for me. So, but that's just a what-if scenario. That won't happen. It's all good.
On that note, I think it's a good stopping point for this edition of Let's Rage Coogs. Once again, the final score from Arizona, the 6th-ranked Houston Cougars come out with the victory, 62-58 over the Arizona Wildcats. Milos Uzan led the way for Houston in scoring with 19 points, 5 assists, 2 rebounds, and once again, 0 turnovers in 38 minutes of action. LJ Cryer right behind him with 15 points, 2 assists, 1 rebound in 35 minutes. Juwan Roberts had 9 points and 4 rebounds. JoJo Tugler had 8 points, 5 rebounds. Terrence Arsenal had 7 and 2 rebounds. And then Javier Francis and Malik Wilson had 2 points each. Arizona, the leading scorer was Caleb Love. Houston shot better than Arizona from the field, 43% compared to Arizona's 37%. Like you mentioned, Kris, the Wildcats out-rebounded Houston 39-30, including having an edge in offensive rebound battle. In the offensive rebound battle, Arizona had the 11-6 advantage. For Houston, they improved to 21-4, 13-1 in Big 12 conference play. They now have a cushion atop the Big 12 conference standings for first place in the conference with, like you said, Kris, 6 games remaining. And they will be back in Arizona this time to face off against Arizona State on Tuesday at 8 p.m. Central Time. And that game will that game be on ESPN, Kris, or let me check.
That's a good question. I'm reading about getting some more details about what Justin brought up about Big 12 and TNT. Justin, much of the games that are going from before Big 12 to TNT are football games. It's football games that would have aired on ESPN Plus. Those games will be on TNT. I do believe that there will be more men's basketball games on CBS Sports from the Big 12 in the future. And ultimately, I do see Commissioner Yormark negotiate with his TV partners to move as many of the men's basketball games away from ESPN Plus and get on the linear networks, CBS Sports, TNT, Fox, Big Fox, whatever. But yeah, so most of it currently involves football, but there will be more hoops on CBS Sports. That is for sure.
Yeah, that Tuesday game will be on ESPN2, by the way, 8 p.m. Central Time. Once again, thank each and every single person that took the time out of their Saturday afternoon to join us on this edition of Let's Rage Coogs, or if you're not watching us live and you're tuning into us whenever you may be watching, big thank you. Make sure you hit the like button if you're watching on YouTube, either on the Houston Roundball Review or Podstime at Jamma YouTube channels. If you're on Twitter, make sure you hit follow, retweet, or repost, like, do all the things. If you're new to the show, we do this after each and every single men's basketball and football post game, where we do this post game show after each and every single men's basketball and football game. So we'll be back on Tuesday following Houston, Arizona State, to break down everything that happens between the Cougars and ASU. Make sure that, again, you help us out by hitting the subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Leave a like. And with that being said, Kris, I'll toss it over to you. Any final thoughts on this game, and where can people find you, sir?
Thank you, Andy. A salute to Coach Fluff, McKiver, and Coach Dayon Dunlap for coaching their respective teams today. That's where they left this edition of LRC a little earlier than usual, but we still held it down. Thank you to all of our family participating in the discussion with their comments and questions. Subscribe to the Houston Roundball Review YouTube channel. Subscribe to Pod Slamma Jamma on YouTube. Andy, Dayon, and I have been approved to attend and cover the Big 12 tournament in Kansas City in a little under 4 weeks. I think Andy, you have to let me know if you've been approved for the Final Four, but if the Cougs are there, you'll be there. So I'm not worried about that. So if anyone wants to contribute to expenses for our trips, our post-season trips, email us at Andy, Let's Rage Coogs at gmail.com. Continue saying it. Let's Rage Coogs is the original post-game show for Houston football and Houston men's basketball. We have a plan and idea for more sponsorship opportunities for companies who want to advertise on this show. We can also advertise, promote you during our YouTube shorts or IG reels, all kinds of ways to get your word out. Additional ways for you to support Let's Rage Coogs. You help us, we help you. Great win for the Cougs today on the road. Final score, Cougs 62, Arizona 58. Congrats to Milos, Uzan, stepping up. LJ Cryer. It's a great team win. We'll be back here on Tuesday. Join us Tuesday for the next edition of Let's Rage Coogs. And I'll say it for my brothers. First, I'll say my closing. Since 1994, the Houston Roundball Review, local name, global perspective. But from me, Andy, Fluff, Dayon. Go Cougs.